Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for more science, space and tech news to share with you. And I came across this over at RT.com. Yes, India seeks to challenge top global chip manufacturers. This should be interesting. Yes, the government has undertaken several initiatives seeking to tap into the lucrative market. Okay, let's see what they've got to say for themselves. India's Tata Electronics has begun the construction of a $3.2 billion semiconductor plant, which is expected to generate 27,000 jobs. Now, the plant will be located in Assam, the largest of the states in India's northeast, and produce over 48 million chips per day using locally developed technologies, India Electronics and Information Technology Minister has said. That's really interesting. 48 million chips a day is quite a large number, but very, very interesting. Good for the Indian people. I'm just hoping that they're treated by these chip manufacturing companies that Tata Electronics contracts to, and they're not slave labour. That will be good. We saw that issue with Apple a while ago. I'm just hoping, as I said, they get treated correctly. But this is incredible because India, I prefer to deal with the Indians and the Chinese, because I don't like the Chinese Communist government. Not a fan of some of the stuff that Modi's doing, but again, he's, as far as I'm concerned, he's the better of the two, if that makes any sense. I still also believe, while saying that we need to get in the Western world, more manufacturing plants, not just for chips, but for everything. Not just computer chips, but we need to, more make of our own motor vehicles instead of importing them from China. More, computers instead of importing them from China. We have an entrepreneur in Australia by the name of Dick Smith, and he started Dick Smith Electronics, and this was like the late 70s, early 80s. He was absolutely fantastic. His prices were a little bit more expensive, but he employed local people, created local jobs. It worked really well. He sold it off in the 80s and kept the brand, so his name was still around, the new company that took it over. But his ideas were fantastic. People say, well, that's dinosaur, that's decades ago, it doesn't, that's fine. I understand that. But he started Dick Smith Foods in Australia. Australian food, Australian products, Australian employees. Didn't last long, it only lasted a few years. Because people were saying, but we can buy cheaper food, but it's imported from other countries. That was the issue. And as Dick Smith pointed out, you say you can't afford to buy something made in Australia locally. But the problem was that people weren't buying locally, therefore there were no locally supported jobs. So it got to the stage where a whole bunch of people were unemployed and they couldn't afford the imported food anyway because they didn't have a job or whatever the product is. So if you pay a little bit more to get it manufactured locally, is the point that I'm making, everybody's going to benefit. You're going to get a decent quality product made locally, supporting your local area, the whole lot. It was an absolutely amazing idea, but of course people couldn't see the vision. That's what I'm saying with these chips. I wish we could have as much vision in the Western world as the Indians are having at the moment. Now, we have to rely on them. They don't have to rely on us. I know the Americans are building some chip plants, but you need to make more. And same here in Australia. Fascinating. Now, the plant has already hired around 1,000 locals for the project. Tata chairperson N. Chandra Sikharan said at the Bhumi Pujan ceremony, a Hindu ritual performed ahead of construction for the plant. The facility is expected to generate 15,000 direct and 11 to 13,000 indirect jobs when it opens, he said. Now, in a press release, Tata explained the chips would be used in automobiles, mobile devices, artificial intelligence, AI, and other key segments to serve customers globally. Now, the move is seen as a major boost for the Northeast Indian region, comprising 8 states. It has lagged behind most other parts of India generating employment opportunities. Now, ethnic conflicts and political instability in some states in the area have disrupted economic activity and deterred investment. Moreover, geographical isolation and challenging terrain in the region connected to the rest of the country by a 20-kilometre long corridor, have restricted connectivity and infrastructure development. Now, the state government of Assam played a key role in the development of the semiconductor plant by signing a 60-year lease agreement with the Tata Group for over 170 acres of land in the Moragaon district. The facility will be located on the site of a defunct paper mill. Now, the move is part of New Delhi's ongoing effort to boost domestic chip production. In 2021, the government announced the India Semiconductor Mission for the development of semiconductor and display manufacturing in the country. The project has been allotted a budget of nearly $9 billion, according to the government. In February, New Delhi approved 3 semiconductor plants, including the one being built in Assam, with an outlay of about $15 billion. The other 2 plants are being built in Gujarat, a national manufacturing hub. In an address to Parliament last month, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi vowed to make the country a manufacturing hub of semiconductors during his 3rd term. Now, at present, the semiconductor value chain, including design, manufacture and sale of final products, is a complex global network concentrated in the US, South Korea, the Netherlands, Japan, Taiwan and China. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And one of the reasons I believe they won't do it here in Australia is just pure politics. Politicians, and it happens in other areas of the world too, that they only look forward to the next election. They're only looking at gaining power or maintaining power. And this is the same for everything, not just manufacturing. So they want to stay in power or they want to get into, running the country. Back in the day, it was look after your country first. So they'd, in Australia, they had things such as the Snowy River Mountain Scheme, which is a hydroelectric scheme, started after the Second World War. And that hydroelectric dam is still going today and still generates power and everything else. It's like a road project. You can talk about electric cars till the cows come home, but they're still going to need a road to run on at this point. We have roads here and airports and things that politicians have talked about for decades and still haven't done anything about, because it's going to be more than their 4-year term. And if they get in for another one, there's an 8-year term. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they don't care beyond the power and control. Building a road is a 20, 30, 40-year project. It's got to keep going that long, and then it's upgrades as the population grows. Same with manufacturing. We need to get some major manufacturing started here in Australia, because we're in a unique location here. We're a Western country, but we've got the whole of Asia as a market. I don't know whether I'm looking this too simply, whether I'm naive. Anybody knows more about it, please feel free to comment. But, I'm very happy for the Indians, but we need to do something like this in Australia. Actually, all Western countries need to do it, I think, because it's going to help us with a lot of supply chain issues. Believe me, we found that out during the pandemic. Yeah. But this is very interesting. I'm very happy for the Indians, and it's going to make it interesting. It's an interesting time in the next decade or so, seeing what comes out of India with their chip manufacturing. Absolutely fascinating. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video, because I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, and as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say,
a most fascinating thing happened.